Hi there, smart drivers. Rick with Smart Drive Test. Having copious amounts of problems with live streaming today for some reason. I pushed the wrong button, so hopefully this is going to come through. It says that it's now live, it's now working. So we managed to get started here just a moment before, and there we go. So I think everything's working. I'm just going to check the sound here. Can everybody hear me? Corey, is the sound working all right? I just want to make sure that the sound is working all right. It seems to be, I seem to be saying stuff, but I can't hear myself. So I don't know whether other people can hear me. Video capture, yes. All right, well, I have sound on the OBS, but I don't have any sound when I crank up my live stream. Maybe I have the sound off here somewhere. Video is good. How about the sound, Corey? Can you hear me? Okay, excellent. Kayla's life. Thank you so much for letting me know that. Okay, and I'm very happy because it actually looks not too bad on YouTube here for the thing. It looks a little washed out, so I'm just gonna crank up the contrast here just a little bit. Bear with me. Brightness, contrast. We'll crank that up to about there. There we go. We'll try that and see if that works. Okay. Hi there, everyone. E-Dress, you are most welcome for all the videos, and I think maybe I finally have this figured out, and I'm very happy about that. For those of you who haven't been to the live stream before, I'm Rick with Smart Drive Test. If you've watched the videos, you certainly know who I am. And welcome to the live stream, and please ask any questions. I greatly appreciate your time here and bearing with me in terms of getting the live stream finally working to my satisfaction. It only took 2.5 weeks of a new computer, new webcam, some growing pains, and getting everything working here. So tonight we're going to talk about night driving, and that is the topic for tonight's session. We're going to talk about night driving. I did do a night driving video. There is a night driving video here, as you saw on the thumbnail. And so I'm going to give you some more tips and strategies for driving at night, because I know for new drivers and drivers upgrading for a CDL license that this can be a bit challenging, because no one's ever really taught them how to drive at night. And one of the most important things at night is how to find the roadway, because driving at night, what happens is we lose half of our ability to see, and most of the information that we collect for driving comes through our eyes. So we can't see as well, and because we can't see as well, we become a little bit freaked out by that. So that's what we're going to talk about. Now, just before we get started here, if you do like what you see here on the channel, like, share, subscribe. Make sure you hit that subscribe button because we got the big goal of next year, within 1 year, of reaching 300,000 subscribers. And Corey and I have been talking about that. Corey is moderating here on the channel, and hopefully we're going to get this spam thing under control, which we've had a bit of trouble with. But we would like to thank the person, because when you're getting negative feedback from people, it actually tells you you're doing a good thing. So that we digress. So the other thing that I did last week is I got the mastermind group up on Facebook. So please go over to Facebook, sign up for the mastermind group, ask your questions in there, because it allows those drivers that are coming up and taking a license, and those drivers that have gone on and actually been successful in getting a license, to come together, and you can share information in the group. And that's the reason that I created the group, because I can't come up with all of the, I don't have all the answers for you, right? I don't have specific knowledge for you about particular places and those types of things. So if you can come together there, then that would be great. Yeah, there's Corey there in the blue. Corey is moderating, and Corey is very good at getting videos for us and giving you the topics that we're talking about. So Raquel, how are you? Great to be here. Naruto, tips for angled parking: go slowly, okay? And try, when you come up to the lane where you're going to get into to turn into the angled parking, you need to go past so that you the driver, are in line with the back corner of the vehicle where you're going to come around, okay? And go slowly, because when you go slowly and you're trying to park, remember there's two pieces to the vehicle. There's the back of the vehicle and the front of the vehicle, and those two pieces of the vehicle are going at different speeds. because it's called off tracking, because the back wheels go on a shorter route around a corner than the front wheels do. Think of it like the hands on a clock, right? When the big hand goes from 6 to 9 through 1/4 rotation, it goes 15 minutes. But the little hand only moves a little bit. It's the same as the front and back wheels of a vehicle. So go slowly when you're parking. And as well, go back to some of those fundamentals. If you're really having trouble, Naruto, I was just seeing who asked me the question there. If you're really having trouble, Naruto, go out and get some of those 36-inch, 1-meter tall pylons and go and practice in the parking lot, because you can actually see those and have a reference point when you're trying to park. All right. C. Weston, your videos are so helpful. Thank you so much, C. Weston, for that. That's really great. We try to help. Rinwer, turning left at an intersection. I am the first vehicle and I have committed into the intersection, but not in the intersection. Car in front touching the last white line. From green to yellow, and the raining cars in the opposite end are finishing up as well. As people are walking, the light is in yellow. Do I still turn? Yes, you do. If the oncoming traffic, Rinwer, has stopped and is stopping, make sure that they are before you go. You have to go on the yellow, okay? You need to clear the intersection and commit to the left-hand turn. All right. Marion. Well, Marion, I wish I could come and teach you too, but one of the great things about YouTube is that I can help a lot of more people than I could physically being with everybody in the vehicle. But just watch enough of the videos and I will be there with you, because I've had smart drivers come back and tell me that they can hear my voice in their head, which is a little bit scary, because I can hear my voice in my head and some days it frightens me. But you're going to do great. V-Emo, tips for reversing into a gap preparing for the driving test. Yes, V-Emo, look at the video on reverse stall parking. But one of the biggest tips that I recommend, V-Emo, in terms of backing into a parking space is to back in beside another vehicle, okay? Because then that way you have a reference point when you're backing in beside another vehicle, because it's just too difficult. If you're trying to get in between the lines and you're trying to look down, it's where your vision shouldn't be. Your vision should be up while you're trying to back in or do slow speed maneuvers. So if you can park in beside another car, it's a lot easier for you to back into that space, okay? Okay, Rinwer. You're not technically in the intersection, Rinwer. That's a good point. But if you've got time, because the yellow light's usually about 7 to 9 seconds, you've got enough time to clear that intersection on the yellow. And it's best not to sit across the crosswalk if you don't have to, right? And so most of the time the traffic's going to be coming to a stop and you've got enough time to get around that intersection, all right? Okay. Naruto, tips for using mirrors better. Definitely, Naruto, what I would suggest you do, and Corey might be able to get this video for you, the fundamentals of driving. Definitely go out and get some of those 36-inch, 1-meter tall pylons and use those in the parking lot with your mirrors. And as well, in that video, I show you the 2x4 exercise where you go out and get a chunk of 2x4 and just put it down on the ground and try and back up over it. And you can do that with your mirrors, and that way it helps you with your mirrors. As well, the other thing you can do with your mirrors is to back around corners and those types of things. It's just getting used to the mirrors, and learning how to drive with the mirrors is just a matter of practice and forcing yourself to use the mirrors. The other thing that I do when I teach truck driving and we're in a day cab is just, it doesn't have a bunk on it, it has a back window, is oftentimes what I'll do is I'll tape newspaper over the back window, and then that way it will force you to look in the mirrors and not be able to look out the back window. So that's the other way that you can do it. All right. McD, yes. V-Emo, you are most welcome. Okay. Excuse me. Last night I was in a left turn at an intersection. There were 2 turning lanes and couldn't see the lane where I was turning, so I almost hit the car to my left while I was turning. Any tips? Yes. What you want to do if there's 2 left turning lanes is you want to be in the outside lane. That way when you go around the corner, oftentimes there's going to be a light standard or there's going to be a median on the other side of the road, and you want to stay tight to that median. You want to be in the lane that allows you to find landmarks when you're going around the corner, okay? And that's going to help you, okay? As well, as you're coming around the corner, if you do get caught out and you can't find the landmarks, don't be beside other vehicles when you're turning, especially on multi-lane roads. Always be behind the other vehicle or in front of the other vehicle. And if that's not happening, then you need to back off or speed up so that you can create that. So that is just the fundamentals of defensive driving. And again, watch the video that I just put up yesterday on changing lanes where the car came out and merged in beside me. I actually backed off and let that car go in front of me. And that is the fundamentals of defensive driving. All right. Dwayne. Dwayne, what I recommended for starting a truck driving career, do's and don'ts. Okay. You obviously need a license. You are most welcome, Naruto. So I do recommend you going to a truck driving school. If you don't have any experience driving construction equipment or driving farm equipment or something like that, driving larger vehicles, then I do recommend that you go to a truck driving school. And how long you're going to need in terms of duration at a truck driving school is going to depend on a number of factors: how much experience, how much aptitude you have for picking up driving a big truck, and those types of things. And then the other thing that I would suggest, Dwayne, is look for a truck driving company that has a mentor program. Dwayne, just remind me, are you here in Canada? Are you in the States? Just remind me of that. And then I'll carry on with your question. Abhilash. Can you speak about driving on roundabouts, rotary, and your channel is really helpful. Thank you very much for that. Yes, roundabouts. When you come up to a roundabout, think of it like a conventional intersection. So as you're coming up to the roundabout, signal. Now, and some of my smart drivers might be able to help me with this because I was looking in the Highway Traffic Act because I was watching something that come across Facebook from one of the other driving schools, and they said that you have to signal when you exit the roundabout. I cannot find that in the Highway Traffic Act. Now, I don't know where they came up with that, whether somebody just said that and it's sort of become policy now and those types of things. My understanding of roundabouts is that you don't have to signal your intent to exit from a roundabout unless practicable. And what that means is if you can do it, right? Because sometimes we get busy. There's a lot of stuff going on in the roundabout and you're just exiting. It's not a big deal. It's not really going to cause a crash. It's not as important as when you go into the roundabout and the traffic behind you is trying to figure out where you're going and what you're doing. It's more important that you signal as you're going into the roundabout than when you're leaving the roundabout. The other thing is that come up to the roundabout, and the transition for a lot of drivers in terms of roundabouts is that you have to be prepared to stop and go at the same time as you're coming up to the roundabout. And that takes a little bit of transition. And make sure you watch the video here on the channel about roundabouts, because I distinctly remember that when I was in Australia and I was learning roundabouts, I had to make that transition between being prepared to stop and go. And the other thing is you got to look far ahead as you're coming into the roundabout so you're prepared for that when you're coming up to it. All right? So those are just a few tips in terms of roundabouts. And then just, hold your course and know that the other thing about roundabouts, other people in the roundabouts are scanning and looking too. So if you make a mistake, it's not going to be as devastating as it would be in a conventional intersection. All right? All right. Video for highway driving. Okay, eDress, there are a number of videos on here for highway driving. Look at the video on cruise control. That'll give you some pointers and tips about that. Okay, windmill, I'm doing a left turn. No, windmill, you cannot mow down pedestrians. This isn't death race. This is everyday defensive driving. No, you're not allowed to. I know you'd like to, but you can't, okay? All right, Bricks for Wheels, Samantha. How are you, Samantha? C. Weston, as a new driver, when do you think it's best for me to get on the expressway? See, Weston, I think it's important for you to get on the expressway as soon as possible. The sooner the better, okay? And have a look at the video, C. Weston, there that I just put up about changing lanes, and go near to the end of the video, because I show you how to drive on the highway and I show you how to do lane changes on the highway. And the other thing, who asked me that? Oh, yes, C. Weston, about the expressway. Get your good road songs ready, okay? Because you're going on the expressway and it is great fun and it's a good time to listen to great radios. great songs on the radio, okay? Little Dash Rambler, those kinds of songs. So there you go. Do you have Rinward, do you have a video on divided islands? Won't post a picture. Okay, Rinward, send me the picture to my email, rick@smartdrivetest.com, okay? Liz, what to do when I start sliding on ice? Okay, Liz, most important, do not, and I repeat, do not hit the brakes, okay? Look in the direction you want to go and work the steering wheel, okay? And as well, Liz, when you lose control, you simply take your foot off the throttle, look in the direction you want to go, and steer the vehicle in the direction you want to go. And most important, do not oversteer. Okay, don't do that. Quarter turn. So 2 hands on the steering wheel, quarter turn. And as well, the video that I was watching last night about recovering on ice, know that, what was the point that I was going to make? Yes, pay attention to the weather. Pay attention to when it's around freezing that there's precipitation, because oftentimes there's very little precipitation, and that's when you're going to get it icy, and that's when you're going to lose control. All right? Okay, so just know that. So don't touch the brake, because the brake is just going to make it worse, because it's going to cause the vehicle to oversteer where the back end comes around, and that's going to be far worse. So keep your foot off that, look in the direction you want to go, take your foot off the throttle, and just steer the vehicle, quarter turns. All right? Dwayne, okay, so you're in the West Indies. So Dwayne, the first thing you need to do is you need to get a work permit to work in Canada. Are you you're not a Canadian national, are you? Answer that question for me, because if you're not, then that's the first thing you got to do, Dwayne, is you got to get a work permit to work here in Canada or in the United States, depending on which country you want to work in. All right, Danielle, or not Daniel, I'm sorry, Daniel. Danielle, no, that's right. How can you avoid many bright lights at night and morning at the dark? Unfortunately, you can't, Danielle. I'm sorry. It's part of our urban landscape that we have lots and lots of lights. See, Weston, it's one of the fun things of driving. See, Weston, okay? So, Danielle, one of the things that you can do in terms of bright lights is one of the things I'm going to talk about it. Why don't we revisit that comment after I do the presentation here? Okay? You are most welcome, Liz. All right. All right. Okay, so I'm going to head over to the presentation. I'm going to start doing the presentation here. I'll just pop that up there. No, actually, we're going to put that there and put that. Bear with me just one moment. I'm having some technical challenges here. There we go. Okay. All right. So tonight we're talking about night driving. For those of you who are first time here, I do have a PhD in legal history. I looked at the impact that 500% increase in road speed had between 1890 and 1930 on policing and law as they move to uphold order maintenance within the city. So that's my PhD. I've also been a driving instructor for 20 years, doing all classes of license, mostly CDL training. I also do driver rehabilitation specialist at a hospital for a short time, where we worked with people who had sustained debilitating injuries such as brain injuries, had strokes, lost a limb, oftentimes in a car crash or some sort of industrial accident, and were returning to driving. So that's what I did in terms of my driving career. So tonight we're talking about night driving, and I realized a couple of years ago that it's not just new drivers who have difficulty with night driving, but it was also CDL drivers, and taking CDL drivers out onto the roadway at night. Excuse me. I forgot my Spider-Man cup in my water. So that's why tonight we're doing night driving, and we're going to probably revisit. Next week we're going to go back to winter driving. As I mentioned last week, I did put up a new playlist on the YouTube channel. The new playlist is a few videos that just review some information, some tips about driving and those types of things as you're coming into the final days before your road test. So just have a look at that playlist in the few days before you go for your road test. Now, again, I want to reiterate, as it says there at the bottom, 7 to 10 days before your road test, take a mock road test with a driving school and get them to evaluate your driving and to let you know whether you're ready for your road test or not. And make sure you book that about a month out, because most driving schools are busy and it's going to take them that long to, it's going to take that much time for you to actually book a driving lesson with a local driving school. All right. So night driving. One of the difficulties with night driving is that the farther you get away from urban areas, the less light there is, less ambient light, and the more that you have to rely on your headlights of your vehicle to see into the dark. And it's difficult. Your headlights do not provide enough light for you to see adequately at night. So that is a bit intimidating to many new drivers, and as well commercial drivers upgrading to a truck or bus license. So what you're looking for is you're trying to figure out where the road is going, you're trying to figure out the curves in the road, hills and those types of things. And as you get farther away from urban areas, you're going to have to rely on road engineering features to be able to figure out where you're going at night. And if you want to see all of this in a comprehensive video where I go for a drive and out into the country at night, have a look at this video here, How to Drive at Night, Tips, Strategies, and Techniques to Drive in the Dark. Excuse me. And the other thing that you need to consider if you are driving at night and it is late, you need to consider fatigue management. Now, I know that this video is about trucking, but a lot of the information and the tips and strategies in this video when I talk about fatigue management are relevant to drivers who are driving at night and in the dark. Okay, so have a look at this video. It's not just for truck drivers, it's also for other people. And make sure you get some sleep if you're going on a long drive and you're going to be driving at night. If you do start driving at night, oftentimes when we're tired and we're fatigued, we'll start having micro sleeps where your eyes will close for 3 or 4 seconds at a time. If that happens, pull over and take a short nap. Get a bit of kip. Even 10 or 20 minutes is going to help you to continue to go down the road. As well, know that all of us all have circadian rhythms. Our body clock dips in the afternoon, sort of between 1 and 5 in the afternoon, and it dips again in the early morning rather, between 2 and 5. Those are the times that our body wants to sleep. Lots and lots and lots of single vehicle collisions occur in the middle of the afternoon with the driver, the sun's shining, you're listening to the tunes on the radio, you're driving down the highway, and all of a sudden you fall asleep. It happens a lot more than people think. So be aware that you're going to be tired in the early afternoon as well. Some of the strategies that you can do in terms of staying awake at night if you do absolutely have to go somewhere and drive when you're tired, and I know a lot of people work shift work and those types of things, so you're going to be tired, is to talk to somebody, have somebody to talk to. Have a hands-free device on your cell phone. Call somebody, get them to talk to you while you're driving. That will help you to stay awake. As well, eating. I'm not talking about eating a dozen donuts or something. Eat carrots, eat rice cakes. When I was driving truck, one of the things that I did to stay awake was I had a 10-pound bag of carrots down beside the seat, and I used to just chew carrots all night to stay awake when I was driving truck. So that was one of the ways that I stayed awake at night. Now, the night that I stuck my finger through a rotten carrot, I made sure I turned the light on after that and checked them before I carried on with eating the carrots. The most dangerous time at night to drive is at sunset and sunrise, and the reason that it's dangerous is because the disparate light levels that you have occurring in the sky and on the ground. And you can see there in the image of the car at sunset, might be sunrise, but I suspect it's sunset. You have a very dark landscape and you have a very bright sky. And what happens with the bright sky is that our eyes adjust to the bright sky, and it makes the landscape even darker than it normally would be because our eyes are not yet transitioned to night driving and our night vision. So be especially careful during this time of the day, especially at this time of the year right now where it gets dark at like 3:30 in the afternoon, and many of you will be driving home at this time or getting off work or whatnot, because cyclists, pedestrians, people on scooters, and if there's motorcycles and those types of things, they're all going to hide in that dark landscape. So know that that's the most dangerous time. Now, I just briefly mentioned earlier in the presentation about our night vision. We have night vision. When we're in the dark for a while, our eyes adjust to that darkness and we can see better. However, there's the instrument panel in the vehicle that's all lit up and those types of things. And one of the strategies that I recommend to drivers is to turn the dash lights down as far as possible to reduce fatigue and reduce distraction while you're driving at night, because that's going to cause a lot of stress on your eyes because they're always being pulled down and attracted to that light, because our human eyes are actually attracted to the light, and they're going to erode your night vision. So make sure that you try and turn the dash lights down. And if you're driving on the highway, you can have the vehicle on cruise control, and it's really not going to be a huge deal because you're not going to have to monitor the instrument panel too much while you're driving at night. So try and turn the dash lights down as much as possible. All right, so for many of us, and the reason I'm talking about night driving is because it can be intimidating and people are afraid of driving at night, and that's not unrealistic because, as I said earlier in the presentation, people lose their ability, half of their ability to see at night, and 90% of the information that we need to drive is collected through the eyes. All right, road signs. Road signs are designed to be seen at night. They're reflective. And because they're reflective, they're easily seen at night. Now, you can use road signs as a landmark at night because oftentimes road signs are put along the side of the roadway, and you can use them to navigate and pilot at night. And they're reflective, they're located along roadways, and they'll help you to find the roadway. So look for road signs that will help you to find the roadway at night. And this, for those of you going to be a CDL licensed driver, look at these 11 top signs that you now need to pay attention to, because as car drivers, you certainly don't pay attention to grade signs on hills, you don't pay attention to no truck routes, and you certainly don't pay attention to road checks and those types of things. So have a look at that video if you're an aspiring CDL driver, bus or truck driver, because those are 11 signs, and some of them will in fact save your life. And actually some of them are good for car drivers as well. So I mentioned in the introduction that the further you get away, or the farther you get away rather, from urban areas, there's less light, it's going to be darker, you're going to be more reliant on your headlights, and you can see here in the image that it's quite dark. The other thing that you can see in the image is the pavement markings, and for most of us in North America and other countries in the world, they actually put glass into the pavement markings so they're a little bit reflective and reflect back the light from your headlights. So you're going to be able to use the road markings. And I can remember some futuristic show that was on television where the guy was time traveling and he was in the past, and they didn't have the fog line, the line along the edge of the road, and he was like, oh, I didn't remember how hard it was to drive without the fog line. So pavement markings are going to help you out somewhat as well. Oh, excuse me. And the other feature that I'm going to point out in this image here that you can see is looking up at the sky, you can see the road cut through the tops of the trees, and that is another indicator that you can use at night to be able to find the roadway. And then finally, the other point in this PowerPoint slide, use your high beams as much as possible. I will caution you about high beams because you want to turn them down if you have oncoming traffic, because you're going to blind them. And if you're tired and you're trying to drive at night, what happens oftentimes is we forget our high beams are on and we blind other drivers. If you are tired, then I do recommend that you just leave your low beams on, because you're going to forget to turn your high beams off. And one other point on this is on the rear view mirror on your car, there's a night switch that will reduce the amount of glare coming off the lights from traffic behind you. So just flip that on your center mirror inside your vehicle. The other landmark that you can use when driving at night is the houses along the roadways oftentimes will have lights on, and you can use those as well to determine where the roadway is. This landmark isn't as accurate as road signs because oftentimes houses can be far away from the roadway, so it's not as accurate, but it will give you some indication of where intersections are. Because if you're driving down the road and you see a house off in the distance, you can often know that that house will not be located along the roadway on which you're on, but it will be located again along a cross road, and you're going to be coming up within a mile or half a mile or a kilometer or so to an intersection. So that's something else that you need to take note of and keep in mind while you're driving at night. So look for the cross traffic. And finally, one of the most important things that is going to help you find the roadway at night is other traffic, because other traffic for the most part tends to drive along the roadway. So look for other traffic and use that as a guide to find the roadway. Finally, the silhouette of the geography. Sometimes you're going to be able to see that, and sometimes you're not. If you have a clear night with a big moon out, yes, you will be able to see the silhouette of the geography and where the roadway is cut through the geography. And you'll be able to see curves in the road and those types of things. And on that note, in terms of reflective signs, oftentimes if there's a median down the center of the road, they're going to have little square reflective signs, little reflective pieces on top of the median, or they're just going to have some reflective lights on there that will help you to navigate along the roadway and tell you where the roadway is going. And then again, I come back to this point of seeing the moon or the sky through the tops of the trees. So just look up a little bit every once in a while and be able to find the roadway as you're going. And again, I come back to cruise control. If you haven't figured out how to use cruise control and you don't know how to use it, do figure out how to use it. Get out on a stretch of road, put it on, get comfortable with it, and start using cruise control, especially at night if you're driving on the highway. It's going to help to reduce distracted driving, and it's going to reduce fatigue because you don't have to monitor speed. So get used to cruise control. And as well, when you're on a road at night, just set the cruise control a couple of miles or a couple kilometers an hour less than the traffic flow, and you just stay in the right-hand lane, and you won't have to go off and on cruise control, and it's very unlikely that you're going to have to pass other vehicles at night. All right, so that's basically the presentation on night driving. I'll answer any questions you have. Good luck in your road test if you have a road test coming up this week. If you've passed a road test in the last week, I've put that up on the website. And head over to the website. Down in the bottom right of the first page, you'll find the link for the successful smart drivers who've been successful in the road test in the last week. Congratulations to all the people who have been successful in passing the road test in the last week. And remember, pick the best answer, not necessarily the right answer. All right, so we'll just come back over here and answer some more questions. There we go. All right, and we're back. And we'll just head over here. All right. Niloy, hello, how are you? Okay, what is cruise control? What's the benefits of using it? Erica, cruise control is a device inside of your vehicle that maintains a constant speed. So you can set it and it will lock in at a particular speed. So if you're on the highway at 100 kilometers an hour, 60 miles an hour, you can lock it in. The benefits of cruise control are that it reduces distracted driving because you don't have to monitor your speed, because when you're on the throttle, you're always up and down on the throttle and you're always managing that speed. You're always looking down at the instrument panel. If you put it on cruise control, you don't have to do that anymore. And cruise control, the other benefits of cruise control is it gives you better fuel economy because your vehicle is running at a constant speed. And finally, the last benefit of cruise control is that over the course of the day, you're going to maintain a higher average speed. So if you're on a long trip, say 5 or 8 hours, you're going to get there faster because you're going to maintain a higher average speed. So cruise control is really great. And if you haven't figured it out, definitely have a look at it. Okay? Grove Street Families is King. Hello, and welcome to the live stream. Okay, Samantha, thank you very much. Niloy, you're here. Okay, C. Weston, could a person fail a driver's test because of lack of confidence? Yes, C. Weston, they can. Because oftentimes it's not because of their own lack of self-confidence. What often happens is that it erodes their ability to demonstrate the abilities and skills that you need to do successfully and pass a road test. So just know that, okay? Tiffany, I passed my CDL permit test. Congratulations on that, Tiffany. That is really awesome. Congratulations on that. Tiffany, you're going for, which license are you going for? Is it for a tractor trailer? Just let me know there. Nadia, I failed my road test because I went up a fraction on the shoulder of the road due to turning around a very sharp and narrow road. Any suggestions? Yes, Nadia, what I would suggest to you is to go back and revisit the fundamentals. Go out and get some of those 36-inch tall, 1 meter tall pylons and practice with those in the parking lot. As well, Nadia, I have a course over at my website, which is, $38. There's a coupon actually down in the coupon box there. You can pick it up for $20 and it's guaranteed. It's got all the stuff in it you need to pass your road test. So I might suggest that as well, because there are some other exercises and skills that might help you out in terms of being successful on your road test. All right. Tiffany, Class B transit operator. That is absolutely brilliant. Tiffany, do you have a job lined up? Are you is there a transit authority that you're working for? Just tell me where you are in the world, not like which major city you're in. Okay. UNESCO. Oh my God. Hi. How are you? Yeah. Okay, Nadia. Yeah. So what I would suggest is take the course and practice your slow speed maneuvers. That's going to help you with your turning and your cornering. And the other thing that I would suggest is go slower. That's going to allow you to have more control of the vehicle. And when you go slower, the vehicle is going to turn sharper. So those are the other things that you need. Okay, Think. I have a big problem at night when I make a left turn at night to see where the curb that divides the two roads is. Yes, that is a little bit difficult. And I can understand your challenges with that, Think. One of the things I might suggest is as you're sitting there waiting to make your left-hand turn, be looking over in that direction and be picking out landmarks that are over there. Because oftentimes what's over there, if it's a divided road, is there's going to be a... I'm drawing a blank on the sign. But the chevron sign, the yellow one with the black hash marks on it, object marker sign, that's what it's called. And there's a video here on the channel on object marker signs. Look for that, because that's going to be over there and that's going to be reflective, and that's what's going to be your landmark in terms of successfully navigating that corner on a left-hand turn. Excuse me. San Francisco, I have one more drug test tomorrow and start January 29, 2018. Oh, brilliant. That is so great. Now, SFMTA stands for the short form for San Francisco Transit Authority. M is something, Metro Transit Authority, I suspect. There we go. I think I got it all. Okay. Who else we got here? Okay, so Rinwer is saying eat citrus at night. It helps you stay awake and gives you energy. Yes, oranges and those types of things. I would agree with that from my experience. Samantha, is it possible I can get angry if I drive? What should I do? Samantha, if you have issues with anger, one of the things I might suggest is just get out and kick some dirt. Run around the car, maybe go for a walk, and then get back in the vehicle and carry on with your trip. Yeah, because I'm sure you're not alone in that in terms of anger with other drivers, because I there was a time when I was tired and driving and I used to lose my cool too. And that's generally what I suggest is just maybe stop, take a break, carry on, because most of these people who are making you angry and they're doing other things, they don't even know that they're doing it. They're not doing it intentionally. Very few people are actually doing stuff intentionally. Sometimes they do, but for the most part, they're not. So what I would suggest is just take a break and then carry on with that. Okay, Think, do you have any tips about driving on foggy days? Yes, Think, what I suggest in terms of foggy days, it's similar to driving at night. All of the techniques and strategies work for inclement weather as well. So you're looking for landmarks. You got to slow down. You got to turn your lights on so you can see and be seen by other people. And just slow down and look into the fog. And if it's too foggy, then stop and take a break. Karen, what is the name of the group again? I really need help. I did great on a pre-trip, couple and uncoupled, but failed the road test because I suck at shifting. Next test is in a couple of weeks. No, Karen, you don't suck at shifting. What happens is unfortunately, I don't think that you've been taught properly. But a little bit more practice and you're going to be fine. If you've got the rest of it, really what I think you're having trouble with, Karen, and I would suggest this from my experience with teaching CDL drivers, is that you're not starting early enough in your turns. And what's happening is those two things are coming together. You've got your turns and you've got your shifting, and you're trying to do both at the same time, and you can't do both at the same time. It's like winter driving. You can't steer and brake at the same time. You got to separate those two things out. And driving a big truck is the same. You've got to shift and then turn. Okay, so you got to get into your gear that you need to get into before you take that rig around the corner, and then get it straightened around or get your turn completed, and then start shifting again. If you're trying to do the two things at once, we just do not have enough mental capacity to be able to do those two things at once. So that's why we change them out, right? So if you're on a right-hand turn, you need to be in fourth or third to go around on a right-hand turn. If you're doing a left-hand turn, you need to be in fourth or fifth. You need to figure out how big the intersection and what gear is you need to be in. And you need to get that gear before you start doing the turn. So that way you can just focus on the turn and not focus on the shifting. Because that's a very common problem for new drivers who are trying to go up for a CDL license and be successful on that road test. Okay, let's see. Tiffany, what is the best way in training to pay attention as a transit operator? Tiffany, are you capable of doing tunnel vision? Can you just tune people out? Because that's basically what you need to do, is you just need to tune other people out. You just kind of need to pay attention, because when you're doing transit driving, most people aren't really going to ask you questions. I mean, there's going to be the odd person that's going to ask you questions about directions and tickets and those sorts of things. But for the most people who ride transit are repeat customers, right? They know what they're doing. They get on, they got their bus pass, they got their pass, those types of things. They're not really going to bug you too much. Every now and again, a person like me who's in a new city is going to get on transit and we're going to ask you a question. But for the most part, just focus in on what you're doing, and just tunnel in on it. Hey, Sam. Jericho Arroyo is here. Sam is a driving instructor. He works in the Bronx at Rookie Auto Driving School. So if you have any questions, you can ask Sam as well, who's here. So Tiffany, that's my answer about being a transit operator. And the other thing is that most of the routes there's not going to be a great deal of turning. And when you are turning, and if somebody's trying to ask you a question, just completely tune them out. Do not even pay attention to what they're doing. All right. So. And again, I'm just going to say, well, I got a break here in the questions. And I'll come to your question here in just a minute, Samantha. Join our mastermind group over at the Facebook page. I put the Smart Drivers mastermind group up. And again, my goal in this group is to take people who are coming up to their license, whether they're new drivers getting their first license or it's CDL drivers who are coming up. Go over there, sign up, because the people who have already been successful in getting their license and are starting a career, and the veteran drivers, all those people can come together and share information. And that's my goal for the mastermind group. So please go over there and sign up. Okay, Samantha. I was asking the question. My dad was saying something about angry. I was like, uh-oh. That's funny. Yeah. Okay. Satyaprema, you have problems with your turns. Okay, so Satyaprema, what I suggest to you, again, I suggest my Pass Your Road Test Guaranteed first time. That will give you the information. Head over to the website. The link is down in the description there. Sign up for that course. You can get a 30% off, so you can pick it up for about $20. You have everything you need to know to pass your road test and be successful in your turns. Now, the first thing you need to do is you need to go revisit the fundamentals to do your turns. Go and get some of those 36-inch, 1 meter tall pylons. Go back to the parking lot and practice your slow speed maneuvers with those pylons. That practice with the fundamental skills, working with the primary controls, the steering wheel, the throttle, and the brake, will help you with your turns and make your turns so much better, so you're going to be successful on a road test. All right? So that is what you need to do, is to do a bit more practice in doing that. Is that a big problem in Winnipeg, Corey? Is that people get on the bus and they don't pay? It's pretty tough not to pay now, because all these buses all have smart cash boxes. So when you put your money in, it automatically counts it. You can't. It's pretty tough to fool those boxes now. Luad. Yeah, Luad, I would suggest that you do follow what your instructor said, but that is a bit slow. That's about half of what I would suggest for most people to do turns. What I suggest for right turns, I usually suggest 8 to 12 miles an hour depending on the turn, and I usually suggest 15 to 30 for left turns depending on the intersection. What are your recommendations, Sam, in terms of turns? How fast? What's your recommendations for left and right turns? Because that seems a bit slow to me too. Alfred, thank you so much for the subscription, and we are really happy that that's helping you out. Okay, Sam, I was good in turning people out when I drove transit. Yes, there you go. I'll tell you a funny bus story. I didn't drive transit bus, but I did drive coach for Greyhound. And one of the problems I had with people on Greyhound, it wasn't a huge problem, but every now and again I would get a really drunk person on the bus, and they would disturb the rest of the bus, or they would get sick on the bus, which was just really awful. And I was complaining to one of the veteran drivers, and this is, again, comes back to my mastermind group on Facebook. I was complaining about drunk people on my bus, and my manager, I talked to him about it, and he said, well, you can't refuse them service on the bus. And I'm like, oh my God, they're such a pain in the butt. And I was complaining to one of the veteran drivers one day, and he said to me, he says, well, all you do with people who are drunk, when they come up and give you your ticket, you just hand them back their ticket, and you say, oh, I'm sorry, this isn't your bus, mate. And you give them back their ticket, and you just say, listen, your bus will be along in about 15 minutes. And they go and sit down, and they're happy as a clam, and you get back on the bus, and you drive away. And I did that with one drunk person one night in Shepparton in Australia, and it was the best thing ever, because they didn't get on the bus, didn't have a problem, and they were happy. Ashimer, when I get in my car, I feel like it is too big. Okay, Ashimer, what you need to do, and what I suggest, again, everything you need to do, take the course over Smart Drive Test, pass your road test first time, but go get some of those 36-inch, 1 meter tall pylons, go out to the parking lot, practice driving around the pylons, getting used to where the blind areas around your vehicle as well. Have a look at the video in the observation playlist about blind areas around your vehicle. Get used to driving around those, and that way you're going to be able to get used to your vehicle and maneuvering your vehicle and working with the primary controls of the vehicle, the throttle, the brake, and the steering wheel. Yes, all right. And Sam said, where did Sam go? 8 to 10 miles an hour on a right-hand turn, right, Sam? That's what you're saying, on a right-hand turn. What's your recommendation for a left-hand turn, Sam? Okay, Erica. When will you talk about driving in the winter for new drivers? I live in Chicago, so I am a little nervous now. I have my license. Was it 2 weeks ago? 3 weeks ago? 2 weeks ago, Erica, I talked about winter driving. So have a look at that as well, Erica. Have a look at the winter driving playlist here on the channel, and there's a lot of good information on there. Okay. I believe it's because I'm in New York City, so these speeds are lower than most. Okay, Luad, Sam as well is in New York City. He's in the Bronx. Okay, so that's his recommendation. Everyone else goes 5 above. Yes, they do. Okay. Joshua, what advice can you give me about getting my CDL? I don't have any experience. I never drove stick shift vehicles at all. Okay, Joshua, where are you in the world, Joshua? Just let me know that. Ashimer, how can you tell if you're in a skid or going to get in a skid? Yes. Ashimer, it's called yaw. And basically what happens is you begin to feel the vehicle move around your butt. It begins to move sideways. What I would suggest, Ashimer, if you don't know the vehicle turning out, when you get a little bit of snow, go out to a parking lot and just kind of do some of those aggressive movements on the steering wheel and see if you can break it loose a little bit, and then you'll get a feeling for it. And then that way, when it happens on the roadway and those types of things, it's not going to be a big a deal. Okay? There you go. M. Fink. Can I hire you to be my driving instructor? It depends where you are in the world, M. Fink. Joshua, you're in Texas. Yes, Texas. All right. There we go. Okay, so you don't have any experience driving truck. You know something, Joshua? Actually, that's not a big deal that you're not, you don't have any experience driving stick shift. Actually, sometimes it's a little bit easier to teach drivers who don't have any experience driving stick shift to drive a big truck, because it's kind of the same, but it's not the same. So sometimes it's a little bit easier. So I wouldn't worry about that too much. The only, you know, it is going to be a fair bit of learning. It's going to be a big learning curve in the beginning, but for the most part, find a good driving school and, you know, do a little bit of research on the driving schools and those types of things. And then that way, you know, you get to a good school and you're going to get some good training, and as well see if the driving school has any sort of mentoring program or will hook you up with a company that will give you experience and know that you're a new driver and help you out to start a career as a CDL driver. All right. Keith, I'm always fatigued and I can't stop. I'm still in training. Keith, are you working for a new license or are you starting as a CDL driver? Because believe me, Keith, from my learning in the last 2 weeks of trying to figure out Final Cut Pro, which is a new video editing software that I'm trying to learn, I hear you in terms of learning stuff and it wearing out your brain. So yes, give yourself a little bit of leeway and know that learning is hard work, because it will wear you out a little bit. So know that, okay? Ashimer. Okay, Ashimer, I want to just dispel that myth right now. No. None of this turning into a skid or turning away from the skid and all that stuff. Every time I hear that, I think of the skit by Bill Cosby. When I was a kid, we had a record player, and I know some of you won't know what a record player is. Sam will know what a record player is. And we had Bill Cosby, and he was talking about going into a skid in his car, and he's going through this mental process of trying to remember his defensive driving strategy of, when you go into a skid, do you turn in the direction of the skid or do you turn in away from? And it was like, it was the funniest thing. And I think about that every time I teach this now. It's a lot easier than that in terms of going into a skid. All you do is look in the direction you want the vehicle to go. Look where you want to go. The vehicle will go where you want to go. So when you're in a skid, look where you want the vehicle to go and steer in that direction. Okay? That's the easiest thing to do, and that will get you out of trouble. And again, if you go into a skid, Ashimer, do not hit the brakes, because that's just going to make it worse. That's going to cause the vehicle to oversteer, cause the rear end to come around, and you're going to lose control. Oh, Tiffany knows about record players. There we go. Awesome. Sam, I would like, which authority is putting that out about a safe turn is 5 miles an hour? Because my God, that's painful. That is painful. Joshua, I'm going with Stevens Transport. Have you heard any bad reviews? No, I haven't, Joshua, but you're in Texas and I'm in Canada, way up north here. So one of the things you can do, Joshua, a couple of things you can do in terms of figuring out whether Stevens Transport is any good. First of all, go to where they're located. Have a look at their trucks. Okay, they're good. The trucks are in good nick. They're a pretty decent company to work for. Talk to a couple of their drivers. See what their drivers have to say. As well, have a look at the cars that the drivers are driving, their own personal vehicles, because if they're doing all right, then they're going to have decent cars. They're going to have nice cars and those types of things. And just have a discussion with one or two of the dispatchers and see how it goes. Okay? Let's see, lots of people have record players. There we go. Corey's got one too. C. Weston, you have 10 classes, 10 hours in total. Yes, C. Weston, if you're practicing a couple of hours, 2 or 3 hours in conjunction with your driving lessons, and you're practicing the stuff that you're learning in your driving lessons, then yes, 10 hours is so much. It's plenty. Okay, so make sure that you're doing that in conjunction. Sam, it is painful. I try to find out when I hear it again. Thanks, Sam. 5 miles an hour. I don't even think I would. Yeah, I don't even think I would do that. Okay, yeah. 10-speed Freightliners. No, those are good trucks, Joshua. What I would suggest, Joshua, is just have a look at the trucks themselves. Like, is the outside of the truck in good condition, or is it banged up? What do the trailers look like? Are they banged up? Are they in good condition? Because if the trucks are banged up and the company's not looking after the truck, that's kind of an indication of how they're going to treat you as a driver. Okay? And so I said, just do your research, talk to the other drivers, have a look at the trucks in the yard, have a look at the equipment, and have a look at, talk to the guys on the docks, talk to the dispatchers, talk to other people and see if they're happy working there, those types of things. Because it's going to save you a lot of grief doing a little bit of work up front and spending a bit of time, as opposed to getting in there and then finding out it's not going to be what you want, right? Because remember, an interview isn't just about you groveling to get the job from the company. It's also about, do I actually want to work here, right? Do they have what you want in terms of being a CDL driver? Okay, there you go. M-Think, my head always bugs when I stop in a hill. I'm not following your question, M-Think, about what you're asking me. Just rephrase a little bit. I think maybe there might be a word missing or something. Tiffany. Actually, it's just about as challenging to drive a transit bus as it is a truck, because first of all, Tiffany, you're in an urban setting with lots of traffic around and pedestrians and road users and those types of things. And the other thing about a bus is, even though you're in front of the steer tires and the bus isn't quite as long in terms of wheelbase, you don't have a pivot point on a bus. So they tend to be a little bit more challenging to navigate around urban areas and in short places and those types, or in tight places rather. Whereas in a truck, you have a pivot point. And if you have tractor trailer, you've got two, or Super Bs, then you've got 2 pivot points, not just one. But if you've got a 53-foot trailer on it, can be fairly interesting getting around corners and those types of things. One of my instructors also told me to go pretty slow as well, a good deal slower than traffic flow from what I recall. Nothing in manual about it though, from what I remember. Yes, there you go. Yes, the reason that they're telling you to go slower on a turn is because you have more control, you have more time to observe. If something goes wrong, you have more time to work the controls, and if something goes wrong, you've got more time to react and actually hopefully get the vehicle stopped before you go around the corner. Okay, so those are all the things, all the reasons why they're advocating that you go slower on a turn. And the other thing is a lot of times drivers get in trouble when they're turning. So that's the other reason that they're suggesting that in terms of advocating for going slower. All right, so we're winding up here near the end. We're in the last 5 minutes. So again, I'll just reiterate, please, for those of you watching on the replay, head over to the Facebook page, sign up for the mastermind group. I'm going to start monitoring that and asking questions. And if we can get together and we can pool our knowledge of driving, we can help make everybody better, smart drivers. And that's really what this is all about, and helping other people. And for those of you having challenges with your road test and have been unsuccessful, by all means, go over to the website, the Smart Drive Test website, and sign up for Pass Your Road Test First Time. There's a coupon down in the description here. Look for that coupon, plug that into the coupon box, pick the course up for $20. It's half the price of failing a road test, because if you fail a road test, it's about $50 to fail and retake it, and as well you got to reboost your confidence. It's better to do a little bit more work up front and be successful on your road test. So head over to the website and sign up for that, okay? What else do I need to tell you? Yes, winter driving checklist, they're over there as well at the website, so head over there and get that and sign up for that as well. Oh, thank you, Keith. You are most welcome. We're here every Saturday at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Tiffany, so is not a pivot point on a bus, or do you make a pivot? No, there is, Tiffany, there is a pivot point. So between the truck and the trailer, the pivot point is here, okay? That's what I'm talking about. Now, I back up a little bit in terms of transit buses, because there are some buses, and I don't know what they're called in San Francisco, but in Ottawa, where I lived, Ottawa, Canada, which is our federal capital, we had buses called Icarus buses. and yes, Icarus, which makes you feel safe to drive on them, because we know who Icarus was. He was the guy with the wings and the wax, and he flew too close to the sun and then plummeted to his death. Yes, Icarus buses. It makes you feel safe to ride on them. But anyway, they have a pivot point because they got like a little trailer in the back, so they have a pivot point. So I do back up a little bit on that. All right, Rinwer, where'd you go? There you go. What is electric vehicles? I heard that China is really going green for economic. Rinwer, they're not the viable power source, because somehow we still have to generate electricity, and China, for example, generates electricity from coal, so that is not a viable alternative in terms of environmental power source. Okay, there you go. Hi, Karen. Karen, drop me an email, Rick at Smart Drive Test, and we'll see what we can do for you. Okay. Okay, C. Weston, you're most welcome. Ashimer, yes, they do make automatic trucks. However, in North America, I know that you can have a very successful career in Europe with automatic trucks, and most of them are automatic in Europe. We do have some of them here in North America, but for the most part, it's non-synchromesh transmissions here in North America, okay? Most of them are non-synchromesh, so you can get an automatic license here in North America, but I do recommend that you get you do get a non-synchronous transmission. There you go. Nadia, the coupon is YouTube 30. You just type YouTube 30 into the coupon box, all lowercase, one word, and that'll get you your 30% off the course over at the Smart Drive Test website there, okay? And if you need any help with that, by all means, send me an email. I'll help you sign up, okay? Rick@smartdrivetest.com. All right, and if people have any questions or people on the replay, and again, for those of you watching on the replay, drop me a note in the comments. Tell me what type of vehicle you're driving, what license you're going for, and any challenges that you're having. Leave all of that down in the comments. I'm more than happy to help you out, and I'm really, really getting concerted effort on answering the comments and helping people. And I am really now, after a good year of really making videos and really helping people out, I'm really knowing what you want. And I want to say, if you haven't checked out the video yesterday on changing lanes, I added some cameras for the video, and I really was happy with the final product, and I would really like your feedback on that, because I added a GoPro which was on the back of the vehicle, and for changing lanes I felt that it really helped out in terms of trying to do the instruction that I was trying to do. All right, okay, Tiffany. Thank you so much. I don't know what you're asking, Tiffany, but anyway. Samantha, you're welcome. Ashimer, you are most welcome. And everybody, if you've got a road test coming up this week, good luck on your road test this week. Congratulations to those who have passed in the last week. And Nadia, thank you so much. You are very welcome. And remember, pick the best answer, not necessarily the right answer. Have a great night. Bye now.